for coming. So today is short stories, motivationals. So take a listen and thumbs up and share. Thank you.
And these stories, they are composed by myself. And I hope that this one will minister and encourage your heart. So let's get right into it. Mikhail Rowe had learned early in life that silence was never safer than truth. Growing up, he had been that boy in Miss Thomas' primary school class who sat at the far back desk, always with his head down, always writing in the margins of all exercise books. No one understood him. No one tried. Life had given him reasons not to speak. Lost he could not untangle. Disappointment he had swallowed. And a loneliness so deep it had become familiar, almost comfortable. He had believed in God. No, he hadn't believed in God. He didn't believe in joy as well. His father left when he was 9. His mother, overwhelmed, drifted emotionally until she drifted physically too. By 16 years old, Mikhail left and felt like a shadow moving through the world. Brilliant, quiet, efficient, yet empty. And like I said before, he didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in joy. And he certainly didn't believe in people. When he turned 25, nothing much had changed. He worked a small job at the hardware store, went home, stayed inside, repeated. He convinced himself it was enough. At least nothing hurt if you didn't expect anything, so he thought. A familiar voice after 10 years. It happened on a Thursday afternoon, so ordinary a day that God must have chosen it on purpose. Mikhail was in the corner alley, stocking paint cans when he heard a bright, musical voice behind him. Excuse me, sorry, are you Mikhail? He turned slowly. A young woman stood before him, sunlight spilling across her face like she carried a piece of mourning with her. Curly hair pulled up, a soft smile, kind eyes, full of recognition. She laughed lightly. You don't remember me, do you? I am Stephanie. Stephanie Grant from Miss Thomas' class. She leaned forward a little. The guy that didn't talk to anyone was always so brilliant, she reminded him. Something shifted in his chest. Steph. He remembered a girl with ribbons in her hair who always raised her hand, in class. Always encouraged others, always told him goodbye, even when he never responded. She had left town suddenly after she graduated 6th grade. He never knew why. You migrated, he finally murmured. Yes, she nodded. My family moved away, but I just moved back last month to stay with my grandfather. Her eyes brightened. He pastored the little white church on the hill, Bethel Hope Chapel. Mikhail stiffened. Church. Not for him. But she didn't preach. She didn't push. Instead, she smiled. And the way sunlight rests gentle and quiet water. Wow, Mikhail, I can't believe it's really you, she smiled. Friendship he didn't know he needed. Over the next few weeks, Stephanie made a habit of stopping by the hardware store, sometimes to buy something, sometimes for nothing at all. What surprised Mikhail most was her consistency, her warmth, her interest in the stories he never planned to share. He tried to keep conversations short, but she had a way of making silence feel safe. She talked about her grandfather, Pastor Grant, the community youth group, her belief that God always found lost people, even those who didn't want to be found. One afternoon, she asked gently, "You ever go by the church?" Mikhail almost laughed. "No," he responded. "Well, you could come on Sunday. No pressure. I promise. Just come with me. Sit with me. I think you'll like the music." He shook his head. "Church isn't for people like me," he said. Stephen looked at him with a seriousness he didn't expect. "You mean people who are hurting?" His chest tightened. She didn't look away. "You don't have to say anything. I can see it. God sees it. You and you don't have to carry it alone." Mikhail swallowed hard. No one had ever spoken to him like that. No one ever seen him like that. When a heart begins to open. A few days later, Stephanie found Mikhail sitting behind the store on his lunch break, staring at the mountains. "You look like your thoughts are heavy," she said softly. Without knowing why, Mikhail started talking. Not everything, but enough. He told her he didn't trust people, that he didn't believe in faith, that whenever he tried to hope for better, something worse came instead. Stephanie listened. No judgment, no scripture dropped like stones, just compassion. When he finished, she said quietly, "Pain has a voice too, but God doesn't silence pain, He heals it." He looked at her, confused and frustrated. "Why do you even care?" he asked. Stephanie took a slow breath. "Because I know what it's like to feel lost. And because God put people in our path for a reason. You were never invisible, Mikhail. Not to him." Her words sought in ear like a challenge, soft, but unignorable. For the first time, something inside Mikhail cracked, not broken, open. The church on the hill. It took 2 more weeks before he gave in. "Fine," he muttered one afternoon. "I will go just for one service." Stephanie's face lit up, not with triumph, but with quiet gratitude. "Come with me Sunday morning. I will sit right beside you." The church was small, wooden with sunlight filtering through stained windows. Pastor Grant greeted him with warmth that unsettled him, like he was glad Mikhail existed, not just attended. During the sermon, Pastor Grant said, "Some people come to church expecting judgment, but God is the one who comes to them with mercy." You don't have to fix your life to come to Him. You come to Him and He begins to fix your life, said Pastor Grant. Michael felt something in his chest tremble. Stephanie glanced at him, not pushing, not insisting, just a reassuring presence beside him. For the first time in his adult life, Michael wondered if God had been waiting for him. A heart that finally says yes. After service, they walked outside, sunlight hitting the hills softly. Mikhail stood slightly, his hands shaking a little. I felt something, he whispered. Stephanie nodded. That's the Holy Spirit, you know. He's calling you. I don't know what to do with that, said Mikhail. You don't have to know, she said gently. You just have to respond. Pastor Grant approached kindly. Son, if you want to pray, I'll pray with you. Mikhail hesitated. Years of doubt battled inside him. Years of hurt. Years of believing he wasn't worth anything. Not to people, not to God. But when he looked at Stephanie, he saw hope, not in her, but, through her, like she was pointing to something beyond herself. With a trembling breath, Mikhail nodded. They prayed under the almond tree beside the church. His words came out broken, but sincere. God, if you are real, if you really do see me, I am tired. I don't want to walk alone anymore. And in that moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, peace flooded him. Not loud, not dramatic, just real. He felt seen. He felt held. He felt loved. The beginning of light. Life didn't transform overnight, but Mikhail did. He began attending church regularly, reading scriptures, taking more smiling, sometimes healing gradually. Stephanie never took credit. She always said, it's God who saves. I just showed you the road. Months passed, and Mikhail found himself standing outside the hardware store one evening, watching the sky glow soft orange. For the first time in his life, he whispered a prayer on his own. Thank you for sending someone who didn't give up on me. From the road, Stephanie waved as she always do and walked towards church for a youth meeting. Mikhail, you coming? She asked. He smiled, genuine, unforced. Yeah, I'm coming. And as he walked towards the church on the hill, he realized something. Darkness was no longer home, not when God had given him the courage to step into the light, not when hope had finally found him. And that is the story for today. And guys, this story shows how awesome God is. And just to give you a short synopsis, this story, it was really about a quiet, wounded young man named Mikhail, who grew up believing in nothing, not God, not people, as his life transformed when he unexpectedly reconnects with Stephanie, a vibrant Christian woman, he knew from primary school. Though her compassion and the gentle guidance of her grandfather's church, Mikhail slowly steps out of his darkness and discovers faith, hope, and the peace he never believed he deserved. It's a story of healing, spiritual awakening, and the light God sends when we least expect it. And this just reminds me of how awesome God is. So, even in this life, you have people who are hurting and going through a lot. But I just want to remind those of you guys that have come across this video that brokenness is not permanent. With compassion, patience, God's love, even the hearts that have shut themselves away, can be restored and made whole again. Have you ever gone through a season where you felt like Mikhail, isolated or hopeless? What helped you through it? You can text under the video and share it. Do you believe God places specific people in our lives for a specific moment? Why or why not? You can respond on the video in the comment section. And which part of Mikhail's transformation stood out to you the most and why? Also, Stephanie showed patience, compassion, and consistency. How important do you think these qualities are when trying to reach someone who is hurting? Leave your answer, like I said, in the comment section. What role does faith or community play in healing emotional wounds? Also, what would you say to someone who have lost hope or stopped believing, like Mikhail did for years? How can we become Stephanie to someone else, someone who leads with love and help others draw closer to God? So, today we walk through Mikhail's journey, a journey many people silently live every day, believe it or not. His story reminds us the darkness is not the end, and hopelessness is not life sentence. God has a way of reaching into our broken places, sometimes through people we least expect, and gentle guiding us back to his light. Now, if you take anything from this story, let it be this. No heart is too far. No soul is too damaged. And no life is too lost for God to step in and restore. We may all be open to the help he sent. And may we all be willing vessels for someone else's healing. And today I just want to say thank you for being here. And I hope may follow you on whatever you do today. Take the time to reflect and to give God thanks. Because in this journey called life, no man is an island and no man stands alone. In spite of how you're feeling today, like Mikhail, God have a way of reaching us. And be hopeful and expect of God. Whatsoever it is you need, maybe you need deliverance from something. Maybe you just need help with something. Maybe you just need someone to listen. As you get up in the morning, expect that. Expect to see that someone. And talk to the Lord. If it's even to say, Lord, send your help. I need a listening ear. And I guarantee you that God will answer. His ears are not heavy that he cannot hear. Neither his hands short that he cannot deliver. All you have to do is to believe. Believe that when you pray, God will answer. Believe that there is an awesome being awesome God out there that hears, who sees, and who knows. And yeah, that will be enough for the moment. And I know that the Lord will minister to your need. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you. Remember to thumbs up the video when you watch it. And remember to comment in the comment section and answer the questions at the end. I want to thank everyone that have passed through, everyone that will listen and that will take part by commenting and share what it is you get from the story. Because, like I said before, no man is an island, no man stand alone. And in everything, remember to give thanks. Because when you give thanks, the Creator Himself will give you something more to continue to be thankful for. And the more you talk about Him and His name, and stand on His name, tell how awesome His name is, He will come and He will defend His name, because He's not a God that can lie. He said, seek and you shall find. He said, ask and it shall be given. He also said, knock and it shall be opened unto you. And in this life, we need each other, even more so than we believe, you know. And don't give up today. Most of all, don't give up on God. You know, if you're a person who right now you feel like quitting, you feel like this is it, I'm throwing in the towel, nobody cares. Maybe you have been there for persons, and now that you're in need, it seems as if no one is there for you. Not your friends, not even your family members who you have helped. It's your time now that you need a helping hand, and everyone have turned their backs. I'm going to encourage you not to give up. But I will ask you to go on your knees one more time in prayer. Even if it's a situation wherein you feel like you cannot pray, or you may not be motivated to go down on the knees, wherever you are, in a quiet place, just say a word. If it's even to pray in your mind, tell it to the Creator. Before you throw in that towel, before you call it quits, one last time, just say it to Him. Just like what you would have said to a best and a closest friend, just give it to the Lord like that. Whether in your thoughts, whether verbally, yeah, call on Him. Let Him know that, God, I'm fed up. This is my last time coming to you because I have been asking, I have been seeking, I have been knocking, and it seems like no one cares. God, it seems like you are not there. Relate to Him, you know, on a real, genuine scale, and let Him know what you're feeling, how you're feeling, and yeah, this is it. And you may be surprised to see that when you have come to the end of that road, that's when He decides to answer, to show up, and to embrace you with such a peace, with such a joy that passes all understanding. Because God is a unique God. His ways are higher than ours. His ways and His thoughts are higher than ours. And we may not know why He acts the way He acts, why He chooses to do the things the way He chooses to do it, but He is God. And remember, we cannot fake it. You understand? So it behoves us to just be real as it gets with Him. And I know He will turn up. Because I myself, I have been at that road once. I got saved at 15 years old. And yeah, and it was at a time, you know, my dad wasn't really in my life either at that. So maybe I can somewhat identify with Mikhail in the story. And, you know, my mom didn't have it, and at the time I had to go and live with some family member into a different parish. And it wasn't easy for that family member, for those family members, but they gave me the best and they tried. But there was that time when I felt like I was alone and nobody cared. I wasn't a Christian as if and everything, and I remember I was invited to this church that I'm attending now. I was invited several times and go to the altar several times, but I was always having my eyes open. I was always fearful of who is this God, and the way I see the people moving the street, and I said, no, that don't leave me fine. And 15-year-old teenager, yourself. I was very much in myself, but that night, I think it was a youth week or something. I get fed up of going to the altar. I decided to close my eyes, and Sister Brown at the time, may God bless her soul, she had gone to rest. Beautiful woman of God, beautiful soul. She was praying with me and she said, Michelle, tune out everything. Just picture the Lord on the cross, giving his life for me. I remember like it was yesterday. And when she said that, I remember I closed my eyes and tears started coming down my face. And she was saying, Michelle, tears is a language known only unto God. So that is it. Let it go. Give it to the Lord. And I started doing what she was doing. And I remember I started praying in my mind until I started saying words. And I remember telling the Lord, I'm fed up. I don't understand why life was so hard for me. I was just 15 years old and I should not be going through this alone. I just felt so unloved at the time. I just felt like nobody cared. And, I remember feeling in my belly, it's as if a joy that turned it over like a leap. My belly started leaping and it felt like the Lord was hearing me, and I felt like he wrapped me in my arms, and I remember my whole body felt chills from my feet come up, and I started to have stammering lips, and I started to say Jesus, and it's as if I was just complaining to, oh my God, I feel like crying. But it's tears of joy. I felt like, I was just complaining to the Lord. Hallelujah. But it was a feeling like none other. And this is something I wish that everyone could really feel, because it's extraordinary. I felt safe. I felt secure. I felt love. I felt like somebody was finally listening. And that night, I remember, it's as if I was fighting in the spirit. They couldn't hold me. And I started to speak with stammering lips and this overwhelming joy. And I started to speak in another tongue. And it was just awesome. Oh, I'm a mess. But it's a good mess. It's just a memory of my experience. And I give God thanks, because from that night, here I am. I remember praying the prayer when I got the Holy Spirit. I still didn't even decided that I wanted to get baptized, because I didn't. I found this newness. But then a part of me was fearful, because I didn't. My friends, they were jeering and said, if you decide to walk with the Lord, I'll give you 2 weeks. Even when I decided that I was going to baptize, I give me 2 weeks. Said, I'm giving you 2 weeks to backslide, because you're not going to stay in church. You love your pants too much and you look to tie it up, and because I'm 15-year worldly. But guys, as I sit here today, I was never saved. I got conscious of my appearance, and I just wanted to be more modern, more humble, more modest. And because people were telling me that I was going to backslide in 2 weeks, I started reading the Bible for myself. I prayed, I asked the Lord to give me the understanding of it, and I did get it. I started to love the Word of God. I remember I lived in Proverbs. Yeah, Proverbs and Proverbs chapter 3 and the New Testament. And that is where I build my confidence. And I asked the Lord, I said, keep me, because I really cannot do this by myself. I couldn't do it by myself. So here I am today, after 30 odd years. The Lord is still keeping me, and I have no regrets. And I do have this joy. It doesn't matter what's happening around me, whether it is a hurricane, whatever. I find this level of peace and contentment in knowing that my life is in the hands of the Lord, and knowing that He has the final say. So, yes, thank you for coming in today. I really didn't plan to share my story, but that's how the Lord operates. And, as I always say, Philippians 3 verse 14. I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. So whatever you're trying to do today, do it to your best of your ability. And for today, I say bye bye and God bless you. And I do hope this story will encourage your heart and you'll look to the Lord from whence cometh your help, because our help cometh from Him. Bye bye. Hallelujah. Mister, and happy Saturday. Happy to have you. And today we'll be having our short story every Saturday. So our short story was happy to have already seen it on the top. So it is said, the winter one remember. And without itching, let's get right into the story. The cry of new beginning. Snow topped relentlessly against the hospital window. The night Alicia Bright gave birth. The world outside was white and cold, too cold for a storm raging inside her heart. She felt weak, floating somewhere between life and death. Her husband Marcus had passed only 2 months before in a construction accident. She had begged God not to let her die too. Not like this. Not tonight. But when the place, the tiny baby cried on her chest. Instead of joy, fear and resentment washed over her. This child was the last thing Marcus left behind. But also, the reason she had nearly died, the nurse whispered gently, "She's beautiful, Alicia." Alicia turned her face away because she didn't feel ready to love her. Alicia no mother. 2 days later, social service visited her in the hospital room. The spirit can take the baby, the woman explained softly. You are breathing, you are recovering, you have no income. It's an opinion. It felt like, no, it's not an opinion really, it's an option. It felt like death all over again. Alicia stared at the baby, sleeping innocent, unaware of the broken nest she was born into. Her heart clenched, her soul trembled, her faith wavered. I don't even know if I can do this, Alicia whispered. I'm so tired. I don't even know. What is the time? But that night, as she held the child, as she held her child, just to feel her warmth, her heart softened, whispered in her spirit, I saved you both for a reason. Tears fell for the first time since Marcus died. As Alicia made her choice, she kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "You are mine. I will try. God will help you try." She named her Hope. A house without heat. Life outside the hospital was far colder than the winter itself. Alicia's small apartment had broken even the heater is not working. Her electricity flickered on and off. Her saving lasted only 2 weeks. The landlord didn't care. The world Hear my cry, oh God. Her bird turned to fun inside her. Mm. They ate canned soup every other day. Sometimes she pretend she had already eaten, so we hope we'll have enough formula. But every morning she woke up and told herself, one more day, one more try, as she took each foot in front of her, taking one step of the way, close to death. One night, the temperature dropped sharply. Hope cried weakly, too weakly. Alicia panicked. Her fingers were numb, her legs pale. She felt herself drifting. She wrapped Hope in a blanket. She moved, then laid on the floor with the baby on her chest, using her own body as a shield from the cold. A little tears rose and her cheeks. I'm sorry, baby. I don't have anything left. Her voice cracked. God, if you're still with me, if you are still real, please, please send help. Alicia cried. Then everything went still. Utter silence. Then the dark. A knock from Edward. A sudden pounding on the door broke the darkness. Hello? Is anyone inside? Alicia couldn't answer. The door opened, and warm light filled in. A woman's knock, a woman's sharp voice cried out, Sympathy! Hurry! Get the baby! Oh Lord, she's freezing! Arms lifted, Alicia. Some people some people are real to hurry. Someone rocked her in a heated cold. A baby cried a strong cry this time as the stranger held her close to her chest. The young woman, Grace, and her husband Anthony rushed them to their car. Those that were passerby and the street side was looking and wondering what was happening. The young woman, Grace, and her husband, Anthony, rushed them to their car immediately. Stay with us, Grace said firmly. You will go another night like this. You won't, I promise. Alicia tried to speak, but only tears came. A house filled with warmth. Grace and Anthony lived in a modest but warm little home. The moment Alicia stepped inside, she inhaled a scent she hadn't smelled in months. Food, real food, warm food. Grace handed Alicia a bowl of hot stew, then took Hope into her arms, bouncing her gently. She's precious, Grace whispered. I suffered. How old is she? 2 weeks, Alicia replied weakly. Timothy wrapped blankets in the dryer and rocked Alicia and Hope carefully. You two are safe now, he said. Alicia, overwhelmed, wrote down in Grace's arm. Why? Why did you help me, strangers? She said. I'm just a stranger. Grace smiled through her own tears because I asked God for a child, and maybe He wanted me to help one. Instead, a family formed by kindness. Alicia stayed with them through the winter. Grace and Timothy fell in love, not only with Hope, but with Alicia too. They treated them like family. Grace fed her. Timothy fixed her documents. They both prayed with her every night. Hope giggled the most when Grace held her, and when Timothy rocked her to sleep, Hope clung to his shirt as if she had always belonged in his arms. One evening, sitting at the dinner table, Timothy said, "We are not going back to that freezing place. Stay until you're stable. Stay with us. We will help you get work, childcare, everything you need, at least until you're back on your feet." Alisa covered her mouth as tears fell. "You don't know what you have done for us. You have saved us from such a terrible tragedy," she went on. Grace took her hand gently. "We just answered what God told us to do, and is to open the door." The blessing of sacrifice. Who grew into a bright, the blessing of sacrifice. Spring bloomed and Alicia stood stronger than she had ever been. She found a job. She began counseling. She joined she joined Grace and Timothy's church, where the people they were loving. Hope grew into a bright-eyed, joyful baby girl, healthy, smiling, and full of life. One Sunday morning, Grace pulled Alisa aside, tears in her eyes. "I need to tell you something," she whispered. "Timothy and I, we went to the doctor this week." Alicia held her breath. And remember, I need to catch my breath, said Hope. Sorry, said Grace. "Go ahead, I'm trembling over here." Alicia, "Yes, we went to the doctor. Timothy and I, we're pregnant." Alicia screamed with joy and pulled her into a tight embrace. Grace continued, voice trembling. "And it's twins!" Oh my gosh, she could not contain herself. They both burst into tears, holding on to each other, crying their eyes out, filled with joy. "God didn't forget us," Grace said. "No, he didn't," Alicia whispered. "He remembered all of us," said Grace, filled with emotion, as tears poured down her cheeks. Growing a new hope. As Grace meditated, so did friendship between her and her new best friend Alicia. The two women were inseparable. Alicia cooked for her. Grace babysat Hope. Timothy became the father figure. Hope would one day grow as family. There was no jealousy in Grace's heart, only gratitude that she had known love before her new life. One evening, Alicia sat rocking Hope and watching Grace make tiny matching blankets for the babies. She whispered to herself, "Everything I've lost, God restored to every day." The winter boys. When Alicia tells them her heart's blood, hope now crawling, giggled and reached for them. It became clear that their families were no longer two. They were one. Alicia found an apartment not far away, regained her strength, built a peaceful life with him, but she and Grace remained inseparable, tied by faith, sacrifice, and miracle. The young couple who opened their door not only saved two lives, they received double blessings in return. And Anissa, who once doubted she could love her, she could love her child, now held hope tightly every night, whispering, "We survived winter. God carried us. And you my darling baby, you were worth every struggle." The whole season that almost killed them had become the season God used to show them He never forgets, He never abandons, He always provides. And sometimes He sends the miracle as a knock on the door. Oh my word. And that's the end of our story for today. What a beautiful story and an awesome God. He is indeed an awesome, awesome God. And this story, the winter wonderment God. And know that there may be someone out there who can identify even now that it's winter, with this story in the world where they face snow and, snowstorms and so on. I don't know what is your situation, but if your experience is not a good one, just keep hoping, keep trusting in God. Life can get really hard and brutal this time. So, this story follows with Alicia, grieving widow and new mother who almost gave up, and her child, losing her husband, and nearly, a child was dying. And she herself normally died in her childbirth. But she chooses love. And that choice becomes her test of faith. And even as believers, our faith will be tested and tried. So we just have to remember to keep our hope in mind. Can you remember her life that as you have listened to the story, you were listening to this feeling. They have no heat, no electricity. Can you imagine? No electricity in winter. Everybody knows what that means. You're going to be stressed. Barely any food. And she desperately wants to protect. This is the cry of a lot of single mothers all over the world. Especially in the countries where you have these winter seasons where they have snow that lasts. Even if the snow is not lasting, once the snow is falling, that's ice. We need to stay warm. And without electricity, without heat, without food, as a single parent, that cannot be easy. So, they barely had food and a newborn, she desperately wanted to protect. So it wasn't easy for Alicia. So one freezing night, she and her baby, are close to death. In that moment, God sent Grace and Timothy, a couple whom themselves have been praying for a child. But at the time they weren't successful. And that is how God operates, guys. Sometimes we'll be praying for something and we're wondering, what's up? What is God doing? You have more than security to take care of a child. And you can't imagine praying for one and for some reason it seems like God is not answering. But here you meet upon a woman who have a child and don't have the wherewithal to care for that child. It seems a little twisted, don't it? But God, His ways and His thoughts are higher than ours. And as you think in the story, out unfortunately. One parent who had more than enough, right? More than enough. And still their prayer wasn't answered to have their child as well. But God saw it fit to bless a woman who is single, who had lost her husband with no money and in winter left out in the cold this earth. And yet she had a child. Talk about the awesomeness of God. But this will encourage us not to give up, not to quit, because God always has a greater plan in store for us. And as this story shows, and it encourages us, the kindness of the lovely couple. They take Alisa and her baby, giving them warmth, giving them food, shelter, love, and family. The kindness of Timothy and Alisa is priceless. How many Timothy and Alice? No, how many Timothy and Grace are out there? There are many Alisas who are struggling, but how many Timothy and Grace are out there with helping and pulling over their doors? There are a lot of us who fall short in that area, you know. But God always have an answer, and He have a plan and an answer, a solution to the problem. So kindness becomes the blessing that saved Alisa and Rose life. And because God honors compassion, Grace, who struggled with infertility, is miraculously blessed with twins in the end. You see how awesome God is? So this story shows, one, God uses people to answer prayers. Two, a single act of kindness can change multiple lives. Three, faith may take you through winter, but God always sends a way out. Exactly what I'm saying. That's how awesome God is. Four, what you give in love, God returns in double portion. What you give in love, God returns in a double portion. Oh, awesome is God. He is awesome above all. So this story, it really encourages my heart, and I hope it will encourage yours. Right? So make sure you really listen to the story so you can give your comments in the comment section. What you think of it? You know, this is a powerful reminder that even in our darkest season, like Jamaica is facing now, I have relatives in Westmoreland that are going through some of this turbulence. You know, last 7 days, don't know where the next meeting is coming from. So, you know, if we move us, let us be as Timothy and Grace in whatever situation we can. And as I said, this is a powerful reminder that even in your darkest season, God is working behind the scenes. Even when you feel forgotten, heaven remembers your need. You know, guys, even in our darkest season, heaven remembers our need. And if you haven't gotten or taken anything away from this story, remember that. Even in our personal, in our darkest season, heaven remembers our need. So be encouraged. Be encouraged. And those of us who are out there who are not in the Daniel situation, like most persons are, even those that have been through the hurricane that have passed, it has left hundreds, thousands of people homeless. You understand? Let us show an act of kindness. Maybe there's something you have been challenged with for years, the prayers that are unanswered for years, and you know you may be wondering why is it that it's taking so long for God to answer. Sometimes God is speaking to us, you know, and we are not paying attention. Hey, Mikey, bless you, my baby, welcome. You know, remember to thumbs up the line. And we're not paying attention. Maybe God is trying to just, you know, urge us. Sow a seed of faith. Sow a seed of faith. And hold him, accountable and see what the Lord will do. Help somebody else, you know, give to someone else, you know, give of your best, something that will take something from you. Something, I don't want to preach here, but many times in life, we give what it is we don't want. But you see, if we should start helping each other in a real way and give that which we ourselves, it takes something from us to give that sacrificial offering to somebody, maybe it's health, maybe it's food, whatever, in whatever way God is speaking to you. Once you have done that and you have done it, it's a sacrificial thing that means something to you. You will see how much the Lord blesses you, and those an answer prayer, you'll be surprised how the windows just broke and the things started to flow, and your prayers will be answered. Because God is awesome. He is awesome. But for too long, we have too many persons who we give that which we don't want. We give that which takes nothing from us to give. But sacrificially, that's a whole different level, my friend. It's a whole different level if you start giving sacrificially. I've experienced it already. I remember when my husband, we're not well off like that. And we're going through a time to be welcome. And he got $1,000. And he said, Mish, I'm going to sold this by 8. And I said, I want you to pay your money. Okay, please, them up sold by faith and we need this money. And he did. He gave it to the Lord. And after that, we were blessed tremendously. You understand? So sometimes you have to just go out, stand up on stage and prove God. Yeah, just prove Him, and you will see how much He honors your faith. So, yeah, don't just give what it is you don't want or what will take something from you, and what will take a lot from you. Once you give it, man, give it with your heart. Remember the story of the widow's mite? Yeah. If you think like the widow's mite, remember that woman wherein she had just a little flour and oil left. But for the man of God, he went in for him and for her and her son. But for the man of God, she went in and she thought, alright, I'm just going to bake this last cake. We're going to eat it and we're going to die because it was in the time of famine. But, I think the story was about the man of God that was fasting. The lady decided to bake that one last cake. And then she shared it to the man of God. And after that, that act of faith, what suddenly happened, she did not have back home to hold. You want me to the Lord bless her back with the amount of prayer the Lord bless her with to keep her and her son. And through these are Bible, these are things that we read in the Bible. They're not the stories. They're there to build our faith. They're there to encourage us. So yeah, when you reach that, you don't have to be a child of God to have that compassion, to share with others, to give sacrificially to others, to prove God, because God honors faith. Do you ever wonder why unsaved prayers are answered so? Because what? God honors faith. The Bible tells you. Even if you are a person that has no relationship with God, as long as you have that faith that can move a mountain, and most times see things, come on now. God honors that. That's why you see a lot of unbelievers, they are blessed tremendously. Because what? They have faith. They exercise their faith a lot. A lot of times more than believers. That's where a lot of times us as believers, we fall short. Yeah, we fall short when it comes to faith. This means because we want to see how we plan out, we want to see A, B, C, and D before we take a move. And that's not how God works. God wants us to have be cast into the midst of the sea and believe that which we have asked for is done. It is sacred love. Yes, darlings, my darlings. Simple Michelle darlings. I think I like that name. Simple Michelle darlings. Hey, my darlings. Yeah. That's what we give ourselves that name. Is Simple Michelle family? Our new name is Simple Michelle darlings. Right, my darlings? Right. Once we exercise that level of faith, a mustard seed is a little bit grain of seed. And can you imagine if we have faith that is so tangible? The Bible said we can move mountains. I'm not here to preach this morning, my darlings. I'm just here to share and to encourage each and every heart and to know that listening that you are not and never alone. No, no, no. Don't you dare go there. It doesn't matter how big the problem seems. I'm telling you that once you exercise your faith, believe in the Lord and ask of Him, He will show up. He will provide. He will deliver. Yes, my darling. And the story, even when I look back at the story that I've just read with Grace and her husband, Anthony, it's their act of kindness. It saves a single mom and her newborn baby. Not only that, but their sacrificial giving. Even though that woman was praying for a child, which I had a girlfriend, and the one called her Dolores, so darling. She's no longer with her husband now for other reasons. I just kids was stubbornness. She wanted a child. She even had a miscarriage because the child that she got pregnant, but it wasn't in the right place. She was placed and then rest and everything, and it didn't happen. God knows why. But she had a beautiful heart. Let me tell you, say she loved them. That's one of my daughter's grandmother. I won't say which one. One of my daughter's grandmother. And she did sacrificially. And she's a beautiful soul. And she wasn't put up and she didn't have a child, but she went on and she fostered. But God is awesome. And she reminds me, the story here with Grace and her husband, and they remind me of my close friend, my daughter's mom, right? And it's just that with this couple in the story, they open their hearts, they open their home, my beautiful people, my darling. They open their hearts. They didn't have to do it that winter, but because they weren't even thinking about their own needs, they weren't even thinking that good. She lucky, she have a child, and she don't have to take care of there and well enough and that not even a look common. She didn't let her situation make her bitter. A matter of fact, she forget about her need and takes up to her own person and a newborn child, cater for their needs, her need to come back in. And out of that act of kindness, look at the beautiful thing that God has done for this family. Grace, Grace and her husband know one. They have got twin boys at that. What a blessing. All because they did not go for what they have for themselves. They push forward their hurts, their needs, and open up and welcome someone else into their hearts and into their space. And devote to someone else. And that's what led God to bless them tremendously. Beautiful. Beautiful. So listen to the story. Listen to the story. Guys, please don't take these stories for granted. They are really motivating. And of course, they are written by even more family. My darlings, do you like your new names? The Simple Michelle darlings. Yeah, I love and appreciate you guys. For everyone who have watched the video, listen to my stories, commented, and like, share, whether verbally or actually sharing the video. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're all my darlings. Love you guys. I know that it is Saturday. Yeah. Last previous weeks I have been reading at 11:30. But I just decided to change the time because I'm trying to come at a later time to see if my darlings would be available. So all my darlings that show up through the live, bless you, appreciate you all. And my other darlings that will watch the video afterwards, love you, love you, love you, appreciate you all. Yeah, so remember to comment under this video. Let me know what you think of the story. Come on guys, we're building something here together, The Darlings Book Club. Simple Michelle, Darling Book Club. Let me know you like that. Comment on the video. Come on, man. Watch the video. And the only way you will know this to comment is as if only if you watch the video to the end. You'll see this here segment. So you will know that I asked the question. Do you like our new family name? Simple Michelle Darlings. AKA my darlings. Let me know if you like your new name. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Darlings mean that we have a good thing going on. Yeah, we are sociable. More than sociable, we are friends around here, and we are family. Yes, guys, appreciate you all, my darlings. I just love learning of it. Darlings. How are you, darling? Hence, darlings. Come on, come on, come on. Oh my God, about emoting himself. I need a comment in the section. Yes, down below. What do you like about this neighbor? If you don't like it, don't start your conscience. Yeah, let us have it on a matter. The more comments that I have said, yes, they like our new family name. Simple Michelle Darlings. That's the name we'll call each other. If you're for it, yeah, say yes, I like it. If you are not for it, say nah and put yourself to check. Once you dislike it, put yourself to check. Because I'm liking it. But nevertheless, this is about a family, this is about us. So I cannot be the only one like you. Because to be honest, you are darlings. You are the ones who want to call darlings. So, yeah, you have a say in this one. So let me know. What do you like and dislike about name? Yes, guys. So yeah, I am grateful. We're not perfect, but we have to try. As they have a song said, each one bring one to the Savior. And you really cannot win people, guys. How are you gonna win people until you listen to their needs? You can remember, can you imagine? Somebody's out in the cold, like Alicia, or you want to watch the tell them about Jesus. And I'm going to listen to them earlier because their present need is one of a dire situation. So sometimes, as my grandmother would say, you have to take the fish before you can steal. Yeah, so on that note, just put somebody today. Touch somebody's heart. Touch somebody's heart. And you touch their heart, people will forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. That's something that it's a true saying. People will go. I am grateful. This one is a little more. Right? So, and there you go. She reaches out and blesses. So this girl, we all have to take this power. Someone bless you with somebody else. So my darlings, look now. Please comment down below. Let me know if you love your new name. The Simple Michelle Darlings, but AKA my darlings. So when I'm talking and addressing you, it would be, hey darlings, how are you today? Right? So I'm going to say bye now, my darlings. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being a part of the the Simply Michelle family, aka my darlings. Love you guys. Alright, I'm just making a lot of fun. But we have close to the end of the video. Thank you for coming in. Remember to thumbs up before you leave. Yes, you are late. The story is over, but I'm still here. So make sure you go back and listen to the story from the beginning and let me know what it is about. Yes. And that first one just called. Yes. Watch it from the beginning. And tell me, comment. Oh, we have touched you, bless you, or inspire you. Yeah. Bye bye. Love you guys. Bye bye. Hey, hey, hey. Love you, my darlings. Oh, I just love doing that. My darlings. I love it. Hey guys, welcome. Welcome back to my channel. Simply Asia and happy Saturday. Happy to have you. And today we'll be having a short story in a blue Saturday. So our short story for topic you will already see it on the top. So it is said the winter wonderland. And without issue, let's get right into the story.
Yes, guys, thanks for the support. Appreciate each and everyone that came in, each and everyone that listened but didn't find it fit to comment. Appreciate you all, nevertheless. As I say, bye for now. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Two quotes for strong reading.